welcome to Sports Central here in Newcastle. We have ourselves a top-of-the-table clash between the teams in second and third in the table. It's the defending champions Leicester Riders against the multiple BBL championship winners, the Newcastle Eagles. These two teams, of course, met in the BBL Cup final just a couple of weeks ago. I'm pleased to be joined by our good friend Paul Nielsen. Paul, that Cup final, Riders came from behind to snatch victory there. What impact do you think that has on tonight's game?
Well, I think it struck a huge psychological blow for the Eagles, coasting 11 points up at the NIA, 4 minutes to go. They lose out in the most cruel of fashion from their point of view, and be sure this game could not have come quick enough for Fab Flanoy and his team.
Well, let's take a look at the two-team lineup, starting with the Newcastle Eagles. Both teams coming into this game with injury concerns. Good news for the Newcastle Eagles. Scott Martin, I'm led to believe, virtually fully fit. And also back in the lineup, Paul Gores, two key players for them.
Huge bonus for Fab Flanoy. Paul Gores, explosive player, could be the difference maker in this game. Scott Martin, unflappable, great shot blocker as we saw in the final, and having those two players back makes a huge difference for the Eagles.
Certainly does. Great news for the Newcastle Eagles on injury front. Let's have a look at the Leicester Riders lineup. Not so good news for them. You'll see missing number 8, Andrew Sullivan, is not fit. Hamstring problem picked up last week against Birmingham. He had 11, the first 11 in that 16-2 finish by the Riders in the Cup final. He's irreplaceable for this team.
Oh, heart and soul of the Leicester Riders. Huge stature, defensively, cap everything. He's just the player that the Eagles really didn't want to play against, so it's a huge bonus. And we all know in any sport, a player playing against his former team always gives that little bit extra. So again, good news for Newcastle, but you just have to wonder whether they, hopefully they won't ease back thinking that it's going to be a bit more of an easier game, because nothing's easy against the Riders.
Well, the one player that Newcastle won't have seen before is Mike Black. He joined the Riders before the Cup final, but not in time to be eligible for that Cup final. I mean, really, the stage is set for him, isn't it, to come out and have a big game?
Oh, it's welcome to the BBL tonight for Mike Black, because this is the kind of game where Rob Paternostro needs his new man to perform, just like Downing has done in the first half of the season before he got his injury. And I think this is a huge acid test to see whether he's not just a BBL player, but he's a Riders player too. Well,
they've eased him in, I think that's fair to say. He'd only played, I think, about 7 or 8 minutes before last weekend in a couple of games, Black. But they did give him a decent run out against Birmingham in that massive win that they chalked up. And now he is in the starting lineup. Leicester going a little small here in the opening stages with Black, Calvo, Cousinard, and then inside, I suppose it's going to be Anderson playing 4, Hassan playing 5.
Yeah, well, I mean, even without Sullivan, Paternostro's got so many options. They're such a deep team. They may be just trying to match the athleticism of the Eagles. The Eagles will want to push the ball hard, and maybe he's just trying to counteract that.
And maybe it is just a counteract, because obviously the away team gets to fill in their starting 5 after the home team. No Scott Martin in the opening lineup, so I guess that reduces the size a little bit of Newcastle, and they might have been going player for player there.
Yeah, it could be a high tempo on this, which I think might just suit the Eagles, but we're about to find out.
Well, you would say Newcastle in a high-scoring, high-tempo game would usually be favourites, but perhaps with this slightly differently constituted team, maybe Leicester will be a bit more of a three-point threat, a bit more up and down than we've been accustomed to see them in recent years. The jump ball wasn't very clean, tipped out of bounds, so Leicester will get possession of the ball from the side. Here is Black, almost has it stolen away by Flanoy. Anderson in the corner, given the 3, big shot! And Jamal Anderson was given a lot of space in the Cup final, didn't really take that shot, knocks it down.
And if you're in the starting lineup, that's just the way that you want to start. Great shot there by Anderson from the corner, and the Eagles would be looking for an early score themselves.
Well, they often go to Defoe, try and establish him early on, and that's exactly where they went. He was called for the travelling violation. Good defense from Hassan to make it difficult for him. Now will Riders reply by going inside? No, they did think about it. Black with the quick step, cross court to Cousinard from behind the arc. Leicester 2 threes in the opening 40 seconds of the game.
Great start by Riders, and really did make a couple of open shots as the Eagles reply there.
Well, we did say just at the top, might they start to shoot a few more threes here tonight? They certainly have. Oh, Black, the lane opens up, and Leicester are 8-0 up inside the first minute.
And I think I'm possibly calling a timeout here to start again if you're the Eagles, because you don't want to go double digits down. Could be a long way back, even though it's early in the game.
Well, take that tempo remark away. Leicester with 8 points in the first minute, flying out of the blocks. Here's Smith. Eagles still looking for their first score. Smith fires it up. Tough shot is short. Rebound, Cousinard. He's off and running. Has Anderson ahead of him. Gave it to him a bit late, but he got there in the end. Anderson couldn't convert. Block inside by Cook. And really, that was Cousinard not giving it to Anderson quick enough.
Yeah, just didn't spot the pass there. And I think the Eagles maybe dodged the bullet there as they go down the other end. Nothing dropping for the Eagles.
Good defense from Hassan with the block. Here's Calvo. Back out to Black. Black driving at Flanoy, kicks out. Black open for three, takes it. And Leicester missed their first three-pointer. I think that came off Smith last. Referee said Calvo, and it will be an Eagles ball.
And talking to Calvo, I thought he was excellent in the cup final. It was noticeable in the media conference after the game. Rob Paternostro spent a lot of time talking about Jorge Calvo, and it'll be great to watch him tonight.
Well, he's a very humble chap. Doesn't push himself forward in any way, but he did hit the game winner in the cup final. That three-pointer that gave Leicester the lead down the stretch. Nice spin, but they still can't score. Flanoy inside, trying to throw it out. Does get it out to Smith. Good hands from Black to knock it away, diving out of bounds. Can't quite keep it alive, and his teammates picking back up quick. They like the hustle there.
Yeah, Leicester, nothing easy either end of the floor. That's why they're a silverware winning team. Everything's difficult, and it's certainly proven difficult so far for the Eagles, who just can't get an open look.
Lasker drives in, still can't get any points on the board, although they will go to the free throw line as Calvo is called for the first foul of the game.
And the Eagles, not just a slow start physically, but maybe mentally as well, because normally they'd really have a hand right in the face of those three-point shooters. Not quite there, so maybe just slow to get out the blocks. But you know, they don't want the Riders to go too far away.
Well, the referee's walked all the way down the court to have a word with Rob Paternostro. He's down on his knee. I can only assume he must have shouted something the length of the court, because he's been in that pose for the last 30 seconds or so, so there was nothing visible, but maybe the referee heard something. Didn't see any no more or a technical warning, so it might just be a little chat. Well, Newcastle still can't get on the board.
I've noticed over the years, Rob does like to get fired up early along with his team, whether there's anything there or not.
It's interesting. I talked to him about it, and he says, you look how many, there was too many people in way too early, so we'll get another go. Lasker, he says, you look at how many technical fouls I've got. I don't get many. He knows he gets to the line sometimes, but he often steps back from it, and I couldn't find the stats to coach technicals, but I must admit, I haven't seen him get many. Finally, Newcastle get onto the board. Here's Hassan up top to Black. Backs out. Calvo in the corner. Calvo goes past Smith. Calvo kicks it out. Black spots up for three three-pointers for the Leicester Riders in the opening stages.
Great ball movement by the Riders. Find the open shooter, make the shot, make it look so simple. And a double-digit lead already for the Riders.
Defoe going inside, gets his own rebound, sticks it back, pulls it back into single figures. But if Leicester, I mean, they're not going to shoot 75% from the three-point line, but if Leicester can make double-figure three-pointers in this game, there's a foul there on Cook, that suddenly changes the way you play this team, because, you know, they're not a tremendous three-point shooting team. They hit them occasionally, but if they're going to hit them more regularly, you have to defend them differently. Timeout call by the Eagles. Yeah,
it's a great point, and I think there's plenty to talk about here, especially for the Eagles. I suspect that Rob Paternostro will just be more of the same guys, doing a great job at both ends of the floor. The Eagles just need to get a little bit more fluidity on the offense. Even those little basic things don't seem to be coming very easy. You see Fab sat down there, assistant coach Dave Forrester making some points. Looks like he's trying to get the guys fired up, because, like I said earlier, definitely a slow start, not just physically but mentally. They just don't seem to be where they need to be for a huge game like this.
Yeah, it's, I mean, whether the absence of Sullivan, you know, it's a subliminal psychological thing that they might have just eased off. I can't believe that of a Fab Flanoy team, if truth be told.
No, and I mean, in the context of the cup final defeat for the Eagles, you would expect it would be them that would be racing out of the traps. But I'm sure the one person who is enjoying this is Paul James of the Worcester Wolves.
Yeah, he's in a no-lose situation here for the Eagles, particularly with the other game going on this evening down in Sheffield, between London and Sheffield. The next two teams, so there were 4 of the top 5 in action playing each other, and the big winner tonight will be the Wolves, no matter what the result. There's Anderson, needs a little help after he picked up the dribble, gets it from Calvo. Calvo dumps it off, Anderson drives to the hole, and that is what he does particularly well.
Oh, Jamel Anderson, English player, having a huge impact here in the early stages, flushes it down. Beautiful play, one for the highlights reel.
And what you get from Anderson with him making that 3 in the corner is suddenly you've got to go out and defend. Oh, he slipped here, and Black comes up with it. Black draws the foul, can't convert, should have converted. But he will go to the line for 2 as Lasker lost his footing and turned it over. But what you get with Anderson is he's just added it to his game this season, really, the occasional 3-pointer. If he can do that a little more than occasionally, it opens up the lane. He's such an athlete driving to the basket like that.
Yeah, just a varied game, obviously be developing into an inside-outside player, and I mean that's really going to be gold dust for him moving forward if he's going to establish himself as a premier player in this league, and also hopefully push for a GB place too.
Well, he's right on the edge of that GB team. Got a call up to the squad last summer. Black can't make the first free throw. Misses, oh, didn't miss them both. The second one bobbled in. He thought he'd missed it because he was chasing that offensive rebound. Leicester, with a bit of full court pressure, you often see them pressuring the ball. Here's Cook trying to find his way to basket, steps back the other way, off the glass, too strong, and Hassan with the rebound. And that's one of the other intangible things that we haven't really talked about, is Sullivan is also a pretty good rebounder, particularly at the defensive end, and that's something where Leicester will need to pick up the slack.
They will, but I mean, when you can sub in, basically sub in Anthony Rowe for Rashad Hassan, that shows the depth you've got on rebounding and front court play, and you know, very strong the riders, and you know, when you can miss, you can have Sullivan out of the game and have those two players doing a bulk of the work. Hopefully that'll make up for it.
Oh, nice play from Anderson. Tried the little shovel pass to Rowe, it was just deflected out, and that's the thing. Smith in the cup final when he was guarding Anderson was way back inside the key. Saw him make that first 3, had to go out, and then Anderson will like his chances driving to the basket. Here's Kuzno trying to find space along the baseline, tried to feed Anderson, Flanoy stole it away. Here's Cook. Cook to Lasker on the trail, and Flanoy just cleared Rowe out to give Lasker an easy lane. Here's Rowe. Back to Washington. Washington. It's on to Kuznod. Deep 3 for Jay Kuznod. Bank is open for Kuznod. Not sure he called it up top, but they all count.
Yeah, they're still going the stat sheet, but it's noticeable so far that Goes and Martin, the 2 players we identified during the warm-ups, those 2 players really are showing how much that they're missed by the Eagles, because they're sat on the bench, and I think it's really affecting Newcastle.
Offensive foul on Defoe. He wasn't happy with something. You could see the frustration in his face, and he then turned around and mowed into Kuznod, and that's one of the things that Kuznod gives, because there's no way with Sullivan on the court Kuznod would be guarding Defoe, but he's such a long player for a guard, he's able to go up against the big guy like that. Well, I don't think anybody picked this 5 minutes into the game. Anderson again for 3, not this time, but Leicester, Leicester with 4 threes in the early stages, 4 of the first 5. You can see why they were going for that. Cook trying to find some space, gets up in the air off the glass for 2.
Yeah, nice play by Malik Cook, and I can see that Goes and Martin are both ready to come on, so we'll see what impact they can have. But I think from Riders, it's just look after the ball as another 3 goes up.
And another 3 goes in. Jay Kuznod is perfect in 3 attempts from behind the arc. Leicester, who normally make 7 3-pointers a game, have made 5 already here in the first quarter.
And the Eagles usually look for turnovers on the home court to try and spark themselves into life, but there's been absolutely nothing of that so far. And if you're Rob Paternostro, you're just telling your guys just to take care of the ball. Don't give the Eagles anything easy to help them get back in this game.
Well, talking to Dave Forrester, the assistant coach before the game, he said Martin was close to fully fit. Gores, they were really, because it was one of those injuries, you just see how he goes. Does he still have the explosive play? And that is Charles Smith doing what Charles Smith does, drawing a foul.
I think Charles bought that one. Bit of experience there from Smith, and that's the kind of experience that you need in this tricky situation.
So Smith now at the free throw line, looking for his first points of the game, and finding number 1.
Be interesting to see how many more seasons, if any, Charles goes on for.
Well, I think we've been retiring him for about 3 or 4 years now, and why retire when you can still fill it up like he does? I mean, I don't have... Oh, good hands from Flanoy to steal it away. Running it back, gets it to Gores, and Gores lays it in, and that's what you were talking about.
Yeah, exactly. That's how the Eagles get back into games if they go down basically off some ball pressure, and Gores brings that, and he stepped onto the court, and straight away you've got points in transition, and that could really spark the Eagles now. Anderson
almost lost the handle there, but did recover. Gets it back to Rowe out at the elbow, where he likes to be. Rowe with a nice little drive to the basket. Will that count? Yes, it will for Anthony Rowe. Little shimmy shake at the top, and the soft touch for 2.
Oh, lovely play by Rowe there, but I'm not sure Martin did a lot. I think he looked a little bit disappointed with that one, but you've got to give credit to Rowe because he just ghosted past him. He held his shape, put it up, and he got the drop.
Not having the best years from the free throw line, Rowe, but he does find the bottom of the net with that one. And 4 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Leicester, traditionally a low-scoring, grinded-out defensive sort of team, have 23 on the board. Flanoy driving in. Of course, Leicester did get 100 last week, but perhaps against Birmingham a little easier to come by than against Newcastle.
And of course, Martin going down the other end, making up for that foul with, you know, he's like clockwork with those jump shots. His Riders put another one up.
Good tip from, oh no, but Cook gets to it first. Calvo had pulled it out, and Washington gets called for the unsportsmanlike because he's the last man back. He's not really making a play for a ball, and that's not a very smart play. The worst case scenario, you give up 2 points. Now you could give up 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, not the smartest play there. Didn't make a play for the ball. Leaves the referee with no option. The referee's explaining that to him. Put your hands on the player. You know, whether you're last man or not, I suppose, because he was nowhere near the ball. So referee didn't have a lot of place to go there. He was stuck in a bit of a cul-de-sac, and he gives the unsportsmanlike foul.
Yeah, you can like the rule or not, but that's the correct interpretation of it on the floor. Cook makes 1 of 2. And Newcastle's deficit is back into single figures. The Eagles fans finding their voice now, trying to spur their team. Here's Gores. Gores looking to drive down the lane. Good hands, that's a travel. Yes, it is. Good hands by Washington, got his hand on the ball, and Gores didn't get rid of it.
Great defense there. Noticeable that the referee on centre just had a little look at his colleagues, checked nothing was going to be called. It was absolutely clean. It was a great defensive play. And Washington is another player who's had a good season.
Yeah, and he's got the speed that obviously Gores usually uses that to his advantage, but Connor Washington pretty quick as well. Calvo in trouble there. Oh, good catch by Washington. They move it on. Calvo thinks about the 3, then does take it, and Leicester somehow, from what looked like a turnover, end up with 3 points.
Rob Paternostro clapping his hands, can't believe it. Can't miss from downtown tonight. And they've also got some nice scores and nice balances. The Gores puts one up, and I was just about to say the Eagles haven't really tried their luck from downtown too many times.
I think that's their first 3-point attempt of the game. Meanwhile, Leicester turn it into quick points down the other end. So Leicester are 6 of 8 from the three-point line. Newcastle now 0 of 1. Again, I don't think we would have written those stats down for the first 8 minutes. Martin knocks down another jump shot. Doesn't look to be any problems with him in the early stages.
No, Martin, just such a nice, cool player. Loves those little short jump shots. Great percentage. Very smart player.
Washington gets it back to Kuznov for another 3. And that one doesn't go. But certainly, we did wonder at the beginning whether Leicester might shoot a few more threes because of their nature of their lineup. Well, we've got an emphatic yes here in the first quarter. Smith spins baseline. Help comes from Rowe. And Rowe has his hands up to commit to that foul.
Yeah, nice play there by Smith. But you do have to wonder with Charles Smith and Malik Cook, two very good shooters, the Eagles really haven't had a lot from outside. But I guess that's credit to the kind of defense the likes of Anderson's played on the perimeter on Charles, and he's had to go inside. As the Riders make a couple of changes.
He's not had a lot of touches, has he, Charles Smith, here in this first quarter?
Well, he's the kind of player, you know, you can't keep him. It's very difficult to keep him down for the whole game. But I think Rob will know over the years that giving him a head start and giving him a good start, obviously, often means that he can go off for 30, 30-odd points.
So what happened in the cup final? It was really him that built Newcastle that lead. Tremendous shooting display. He makes them both. Still 10 points between the teams, though. Kuznov to Rowe. Rowe with a little fall away, just overcooked it. And Gores with the rebound, looking to push. Zips it through, just got it to Martin. It was slightly deflected, but it got there.
Yeah, and Gores and Martin have been the two players that have got the Eagles back to within 80, and it seems almost inconceivable that with a couple of scores, a couple of stops, it could even be a one-shot game.
Kuznov almost had it stolen away. That looked slightly illegal, but the referee said no, it was tip. And that was knocked away, but last touch by Kuznov, and out of bounds for an Eagles ball.
And Lamble coming on for the Riders, and I think if memory serves me right, Lamble came on late in the cup final, and I think Fab identified it as quite a brave move by Rob, but because he hadn't played a lot in the game.
Hit an important shot, if I remember rightly, when Leicester were wobbling a bit. Here's Cook. He's got some height over Calvo, but Calvo's such a menace out there. Gores, now he's going to try and use it in the low post, is he? Shot clock ticking down, he's backing down. That's surely a foul on Calvo, nothing doing. And Hassan with the rebound, and he almost threw it away, but Calvo got it. Well, Calvo, that looked like a travel as well. Here's Hassan from the free throw line, doesn't go. Perhaps the ball doesn't lie there. Leicester were a bit lucky, I think, with a couple of calls.
Yeah, Hassan doesn't miss many. He's got a great shot percentage. Maybe, he's better on those putbacks, getting a bit more on the block.
Well, they're going to try and tick some time down here. There's about a 4-second differential. Gores is going to fire up for 3. Well, he didn't miss one in warm-ups, but he missed that first one. Good work from Kuznov to knock it loose. Leicester have to go quick here. I don't think Calvo sees the clock. He does now. He's going to have to shoot. Gets it off just in time. But no says, well, it didn't go in anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We won't have that debate. But Leicester come out firing. Three-pointers left, right, and centre. 6 of 8 from the three-point line. They open them to 28 points in a quarter. They're up by 8.
Unbelievable stuff. Really got to catch your breath here with that three-point shooting by the Riders. But, if you're up Pat Nostro, you see what a fabulous shooting performance that is, but your side's 8 points up. I mean, he's not going to turn it down, but he knows that the Eagles are going to come back, and 2, his team surely can't keep up that kind of three-point shooting performance.
Well, probably not, but a great start by the Leicester Riders here at Sports Central. It's the Eagles 20, the Riders 28. Second quarter about to get underway here at Sports Central. Two teams making their way out, and it's Leicester who lead here. 28 points here in the first quarter. I'm trying to think back to the cup final. Did they have 28 at halftime in that game? It certainly wasn't many.
Probably not from memory, and noticeable there that Charles walking onto the court, shaking his head, looking really, really frustrated. And that's all power to the Riders for keeping him quiet so far in this first 10 minutes or so of this fascinating game.
Well, Gamble into the game for the first time. Cook trying to go against him. Defoe going now against Lamble, gets past him and lays it in for two. Well, we've talked about Leicester's three-point shooting. Gamble is another guy that can knock down particularly the corner three. Here's Black, drives in, dumps it to Hassan at the foul line. Out to Kuznod. Kuznod, hand in his face with the shot, doesn't go. Smith chases down the rebound. Smith has Gores with him, gets it to Gores. Tosses it up, good defense from Gamble. Loose ball is in the hands of Martin, and I think it was Hassan that got him. It could have been Lamble. It is Rashad Hassan who's called for the personal foul.
Gotta love the temperament and work of Scott Martin inside. You know, he doesn't do any talking. You know, good, bad, indifferent. He just gets on with his job. Maybe, you know, a bit robotic for some people, but, you know, you've got to love that if you're a coach. Just so unflappable.
Well, not a great free throw attempt there. Did not much more than hit the front of the ring. A bit more of an arc on that one, and it's good. And the Leicester lead, which was in double figures at one stage, we knew that wouldn't probably last, is down to 5. Here's Black. Little step back. Good hands from Cook to knock it loose, and this is where Newcastle are at their best. They can knock the ball loose. Here's Smith on the trail for 3, and he hits. Charles Smith knocks it down. Does that so often.
Oh, you've seen that literally hundreds of times down the years. Smith's the man to spark the crowd, the team, and everyone into life.
But Sam with the spin, knocked away by Smith. It's out of bounds, and it's a Riders' ball. And
before Smith even collected that ball, I think the whole crowd here at Sports Central knew exactly what he was going to do. And Swish, he made the shot, and incredibly, we're back to a 2-point game.
He's so good at, if you don't find him in transition, he will make you pay. Here's Black. Black to reply with 3 of his own. That's a little short. Smith with the rebound. Here's Gores, has Defoe with him. Gores pulls up. Never liked the 15-foot elbow shot on the break, but that's a bit high from Lamble. Kuznad had to go high to grab that, and that'll be a foul on Gores.
Yeah, it wasn't a Gores shot. It's not the type of thing that you used to really see. I mean, I think he had to pass or penetrate there. But, you know, I think if he goes to the hoop there, he might have got a call, he might have made the layup, he might have got both. But very uncharacteristic kind of pull-up jump shot from Paul Gores.
I was a bit confused there because 3 Leicester players were going to the bench, but actually Kuznad was going to inbound, and Washington and Calvo into the game. Here's Washington. He fires up for 3. Not quite. They kind of need, if they're going to keep this tactic going, they need the likes of Washington and Calvo and Gamble to knock them down. Not every time, but just often enough to keep the defense honest and keep the scoreboard ticking. Martin looking for some help, finds Gores driving baseline, dishes it back to him. He lost it there for a second. Martin finds the shot off, and I think there's a push in the back from Defoe. Yes, it is. Darius Defoe with a little subtle one, but not subtle enough that the referee didn't see it.
Yeah, but I think, you know, if you're the Eagles, that's the type of thing you want. More contesting under the boards, just generally more energy, more physicality. And Gores just speaking there with assistant coach Dave Forrester, who no doubt will be congratulating him for his impact so far. Didn't look too happy at being subbed, but he's been out injured and he definitely deserves a rest.
There's Washington. Back to Gamble for 3. Not quite. There's Calvo again. He just gets in there, bats the ball loose, but Newcastle do come up with it. Oh, Calvo's going to steal that away. Good work from the Spaniard. Kuznad to Washington, back to Kuznad. Oh, what defense from Lasker. He was out of bounds, so it'll be a Leicester ball, but super play from Lasker.
Yeah, I think Lasker thought the referee had called a foul there, but unbelievable defense, and that's the difference. There was no defense from the Eagles in those opening minutes, but definitely turned the screw defensively, and it's made a big difference in this game.
Well, Rob Paternostro called a timeout. I think he had plenty to say to Connor Washington on the way into that huddle. It will have involved the words "lay it up." I think he wasn't happy that he dished it back off. There might have been a few extra words in that sentence as well. But timeout called. The game very much in the balance. Leicester still in the lead. They got out to that explosive start. So on one level you could say, oh, they had a double-figure lead and they've blown it away. On another level, to be 28-26 up 13 minutes into the game, they would have taken that at tip-off.
Yeah, and I think Rob's experienced enough to know that when they were up, basically, as we said earlier, he knew that the Eagles were going to come back. He knew his team couldn't keep up that kind of unbelievable perimeter shooting, and I think more than anything, he just needs to make sure now that his team doesn't kind of lose the momentum altogether and they start scoring again, because I think the Eagles definitely on a roll at the moment. The momentum's with them. There's going to be a lot of momentum swings for the remainder of this game, but the Eagles definitely on top now at the moment.
Well, you look at it, Leicester have only turned the ball over 4 times, but Newcastle have turned that into 6 points at the other end. And that is one of the things Rob Paternostro will talk all day. You cannot give teams in general, but particularly one as good at turning those mistakes into points as Newcastle. Points off turnovers, good play from Calvo. Realised he couldn't get the inbound, so threw it off the feet of Lasker, and he'll get another go at throwing it in within the 5 seconds allotted. It's a bit cleaner this time to Washington. Flanoy overplaying Washington, so he goes past him. Here's Anderson, a little stutter, lost the ball. Calvo trying to rescue it, so too Anderson, it's loose. I think we're going to get a jump ball, and the arrow is pointing Leicester's way, so they get it back. Good defense.
Good hands, Charles Smith, I think. Yeah, just put his hand in the jar there, got a bit of the ball, but just shows you he mightn't be the youngest there, but just a little bit of experience, anticipation. He's always been a good shot blocker, actually. He's not the biggest player in the world, but
in that situation, you've got Anderson going at him. He's going to have to take a bit of a gamble defensively, because in a foot race, Anderson's going to beat him. Referee just having a word with the official. I'm not sure whether he's arguing whether the shot clock shouldn't have been reset, but I think the referee's saying Newcastle had possession of the ball at some stage. That's why the shot clock has been reset. Here's Washington. Again, overplayed by Flanoy. Anderson, given that shot, takes it, and is one of them. Oh, there's, again, Calvo active on the offensive glass for Leicester. Anderson, little stop and go. He might have to go up on his own here. He does, but the layup's slightly out of control. It was a nice move in the first place. Here's Smith again with the pull-up 3 in transition. It's a killer, and Newcastle are in the lead.
Charles Smith, probably got to rate him up there with one of the BBL legends for what he's done in this league, and he's still doing it now in the big games.
Good defense from the Eagles to deny Hassan. Here's Flanoy on the trail, driving in, spins back the other way, gets it to Martin. A little 14-foot jumper doesn't go. Calvo couldn't quite reach over Lasker to save that. It's into Martin to the fall away, and he knocks it down. All the momentum is with the Eagles.
Yeah, and even though Martin was heavily guarded there, Charles know that's Martin's spot. Banged the ball into him, and Martin delivered off the assist by Smith.
Cousinard's shot rattles out. Leicester struggling to put points on the board here. They've been stuck on 28 for 4 minutes. Hassan with the rebound. Haven't scored in this quarter, Leicester. 9-0 the other way. Calvo trying to break that streak, it's short. Cousinard trying to keep it alive, but Smith has it. Martin drives baseline, trying to spin back the other way, throws it out. I thought for a minute that Cousinard was going to get there. Smith again for 3, that's short. Long rebound to Cousinard. Calvo has it against Cook. Calvo drives to the hole, can't convert. Oh, and Anderson misses the tip. And he didn't know if he'd hurt himself. I think he's all right. Flanoy run. Oh, what a block by Hassan. And that's out off the Leicester man will be. Whew, I just need a timeout for a breath there.
Wow, great action on both ends of the floor. But, you know, the Riders have got to really go back to the good shot selection that they were making in the first quarter. For me, it's not just the fact that they aren't scoring, but I think actually the opportunities that they're trying to take are a bit more complicated than they need to be. Not quite moving the ball. Obviously, you've got to give huge credit to the Eagles, who've really picked up that defense.
Well, 11 in a row to start this period by the Newcastle Eagles. Flanoy trying to add to that. He's nowhere to go, so he has to shoot it, but he travelled with it first, said the referee.
Yeah, he's not happy with that call, but referee certain that moved that pivot foot, so Riot has a chance maybe just to grind it down, just to try and get a good look, because they need to get the scoreboard ticking over again. They've been marooned on 28 for what seems like an absolute lifetime.
Well, here's Kuznod. Driving in, trying to find some space, throws it out to Black, head fake, steps underneath it. Finally, Leicester give the scoreboard operator something to do.
Yeah, and Black just took a nice little fake, nice little shot, and that was exactly the type of look that the Riders needed.
Cook should have scored there, didn't. Here's Black, pulls up from a deep three in transition, string music from 25 feet.
Oh, Mike Black here, just turning up the tempo for the Riders. He looks ready to play, and he looks like he could be a really good pickup.
Here's Defoe going to work inside, draws the foul, and I think it's going to be Anderson called for it. The basket will count. It is Jamal Anderson's foul, and Leicester had gained the momentum there with two quick baskets, but Defoe ties the game up at 33, chance to give Eagles back the lead from the line.
Yeah, and I just wonder whether Paternoster might start going a little bit bigger now, if he can. I mean, obviously you haven't got Sullivan in there, but maybe that first strategy's kind of expired now.
Well, 7 of 11 from the three-point line. You might still keep those ones firing, I don't know. Calvo, they are going to keep, no, Black turns it down. Kuznod. Shot clock into single figures. Kuznod drives to the hole, rearranged, beautiful move. He's into double figures. Him and Black both have 11 here. Home fans wanting a foul there, nothing doing. Defoe drives in, and that's going to be on Kuznod. And, well, Kuznod in the unusual position of picking up fouls because he's happy to play some post defense. Yeah,
not a situation that Kuznod probably wants to be in, but it's a bit of a necessity. And Defoe actually doing a really good job. I think over the years, Darius Defoe's been one of the most underrated players in the league.
Durable too. Defoe seems to play most of every game. Very rarely fouls out. I can't ever remember him getting injured. Just a workhorse, keeps on going. Well, we're level here at Sports Central, 4 minutes from half-time. Oh, nice pass inside to Rowe, but good hands again. He's done that a couple of times, Smith, to strip the ball away when it looked like Leicester might have an easy score. Here he is, they haven't picked him up. Well, Kuznod did dive at him in the end. Oh, that ball bounces down to Lasker. He's blocked by Gamble. Ball loose. Newcastle fans screaming for a foul. Referee ignoring them, as they often do. Here's Black. Black drives in. Cross court to Calvo, moves it on to Gamble for three. Yes, another one for the Leicester Riders, who in the first half have hit more three-pointers in this game than they normally average in an entire contest.
Great ball movement by the Riders, reminiscent of the first few minutes of the game when they were making those shots, and Rob Paternoster, he was thrilled to bits with that one. Offensive
foul on Flanoy. It was Black who ended up on the deck. And the Newcastle bench must have said something, because the referee turned around to Dave Forrester and said, if they jump up and say anything again, be a technical foul. But you can hear what the Newcastle fans thought about that call.
Well, the Riders have had a good few offences the last few times down, and I just wonder whether these are, big 3 minutes leading up to half-time, whether they can really wrestle that initiative back.
Calvo, cross-court to Gamble, another one for three, not this time. And Flanoy grabs the rebound. Well, Flanoy under pressure from Calvo. And Calvo is called for the reach, and ironic cheers from the home fans who feel they've been getting the rough end of one or two whistles.
I think that was more the last few minutes of the final, if I'm honest.
Well, somebody got a technical warning in all of that. I don't know who it was. Calvo will sit down on 2 fouls. I think it was a Leicester player. I don't think it was Calvo. It might have been Black. Just a little moment to pause here. Needed it. It's been a frantic game. Martin, again, that mid-range is usually good for him. Black just couldn't quite pull that in, and it's out of bounds for a Newcastle possession.
There was definite shush or lull around on that play. I think even the players, the coaches, the ref, everybody was just, yeah.
Flanoy. Right, it's Gamble now guarding Smith. And now they switched it to Kuznard, and before they could get there, Smith went on the runner. He's so good at recognizing when you haven't quite picked him up. Gamble inside to Rowe. He was open for a second. He didn't realize it, and then he ended up stumbling and traveling with it.
Yeah, Charles Smith, you know, if he's not going to torch you from outside, he'll just either back you down or he'll slash his way to the hoop.
Well, Rob Paternostro gets a technical warning there. Leicester in a bit of zone defense. You've got to try and keep on the shooters in that situation. That was why Smith recognized it on the last play. Smith dumped into Flanoy. What a pass that is.
But if Charles isn't scoring, then he's creating for others. Veteran experience, beautiful pass. 2 points.
Eagles back in front by a point here. Double team. Getting out to Black. Black with the shot. There's Hassan with an easy putback.
Yeah, you've got to love Hassan. He's a bit of a workhorse as well. As we said earlier, great shot percentage, but you know he always seems to be there for those putback plays.
Flanoy has the freedom of the key there, dishes it off to Cook, who used his body well to put Newcastle back in front. Kuznard to Black, around the high screen. Black backs out, fires up from behind the arc. Oh, and there's Hassan again with a simple putback.
Yeah, Hassan, that's 2 putbacks in what, 20 seconds maybe? And it'll be interesting to kind of think about what both coaches will be saying out in these timeouts.
I'd imagine the words box out would cross Vab's lips at some point, because they can't allow Hassan just to get little chippy putbacks like that. I mean, just way too easy.
Yeah, and I guess if you're the Riders, then you're probably bemoaning the fact that maybe they missed a couple of layups and they could have another decent lead. Certainly not the size that they had in the first quarter, but you know, I think either way you look at it, I think without Sullivan in the team, Paternostro's got to be still very happy with the way that his team's performed so far.
Oh yeah, delighted. I think most people coming in here would have thought, myself included, it was a bit of a coin toss game, both teams fully fit. But if one team got all their players out there and the other didn't, that's a distinct advantage. And we've certainly seen nothing from Martin or Gores to suggest they're labouring in any way. They both look and they both contributed here. And obviously, it's just, I go back, there's a lot of players that Leicester can cover. Sullivan isn't really the one they can cover because he does so many things. He can guard in the post, he can back men down, he can shoot the three, he does everything.
And he does so much off the stat sheet as well. I mean, the first time I ever saw Sullivan live, I was amazed by the ball denial, the wingspan, everything else. Those things that you can look at the stats all day long, but it's only the coach and his teammates who truly tell you just what a great player he is.
And it's been a feature of Leicester's defence over recent years, particularly against a team like Newcastle with Smith, a prolific shooter on. The length of Kuznard and Sullivan on the wings has been a real key factor for them. We're inside the final minute. Leicester by 1. Smith trying to regain the lead, does regain the lead. Charles Smith up to 14. It took him a while to get going, but once he did, he's been firing in the mid. Gamble runs up to the top. Moves it on to Rowe. Kuznard back to Rowe. Oh, Rowe just went down there. Did he hurt himself? He did. Rowe's not back up off his feet. He seems in a lot of pain. They won't stop the game till the ball goes out of play or Leicester regain it. Gores hits a three, and that's a double whammy for Leicester. 5 on 4. But with one man already out injured, that looks like he's in a lot of pain, Anthony Rowe.
Yeah, never nice to see, but you just hope that it's something that's only going to affect them in this game rather than anything more sinister. But I noticed Rob Paternostro was up straight away and on court.
I know he's had a few issues with tendonitis this season. And of course, he did have a knee operation a couple of years ago. So we're just hoping, as you say, that maybe it's just a little tweak and everything will be okay. Let's hope that. We're 20 seconds away from halftime. Newcastle lead by 4.
Yeah, and it's always good that, you know, the precautions are taken. Take your time, Anthony. Everyone will want him to get back up on his feet. Medical staff there giving them a lot of attention, and while he was down, I would say probably an uncharacteristic 3 by goals, because he showed, you know, quite a bit of range on that last shot down there, and the Eagles could go in here with an unexpected half-time lead after what happened earlier in the game.
This doesn't look good, does it? The longer it goes on without him getting back to his feet, the less promising it is. I'm just wondering now if one of the physios has gone off for some sort of stretcher, but there's Leicester fans there. Well, they came here in hope, I would have thought, more than expectation when they saw Sullivan in his civvies. And we were talking about the lack of height and rebounding that Leicester get with Sullivan off the court. It's going to be compounded here, because no matter how bad this is for Rowe, it doesn't look like he's returning today. Their concern now would be, is he going to be out for a long time?
Yeah, it's always the most worrying time, you know, the first few hours till he gets a proper assessment to see what the damage is. Hopefully it's one of them ones that look worse when it happens. But certainly I think without Sullivan and without Rowe for any length of time, really, it's going to be tough for the Riders, as deep as they are. I mean, what they've got, Hassan, Lamble, Kuznard after
Kuznard's been playing in the low post. Obviously, yeah. Anderson can play down there as well.
I suppose it's just the experience factor more than anything else.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's the other thing. We haven't really mentioned it, but you take Sullivan out, and it's a relatively young team. I mean, I think Rowe is, well, Lamble will be probably the next oldest, but then Rowe's only about 27, and everybody else is 24 and below, I think.
Yeah, and obviously we're really entering the busiest time of the season now as well, and this is, you know, you need to go on the road, win games in difficult situations, and that's when you need the experience.
Well, the stretcher has come out for Anthony Rowe. Let's hope it's not as serious as it looks, because it looks very serious. Well, sportingly, the home fans on their feet to applaud Rowe off the court, but this is not what anybody will have wanted to see. Well, he is going off. It's definitely that left knee that they're supporting as he goes off. And that is not a very good sign. They've had their problems with injuries last couple of years, Leicester. They lost their leading scorer, John Fraley, to a season-ending knee injury in Durham last year. They lost Anthony Downing to a season-ending injury just before, well, it was over the Christmas period, wasn't it? Let's hope that's not season-ending for Anthony Rowe.
Absolutely, and it just puts into context what a stunning achievement it was that the Riders not only won the treble last year, but they then lost their playmaker of all players, and then went on to beat the Eagles in the final this year. I mean, you know, just such heart and, you know, coming together in adversity, and that's what makes a champion team.
Well, they've got one offense to play out here in this first half, and then Paternoster can get them back into the locker room and try and regroup a little bit. Newcastle with some full court pressure, and it worked because it came off Kuznard, and that's a sloppy one from Leicester.
Yeah, it's always hard to keep your concentration after a stoppage of that length, especially when you can't really warm up and get back into it. So,
especially when it's your teammate as well. So Newcastle with a 4-point lead, looking to extend here at half-time. Gores kicks out to Cook. Big shot for three. Doesn't get it. Flanoy keeps it alive. Tosses it up. He had a little more time there. He didn't quite realise it. That will do it for the first half. And what an eventful first half. Leicester came out blistering from the three-point line. Newcastle then started the second quarter really well. Took the lead, but Anthony Rowe's been the talking point at the end here. Yeah,
there's only one talking point for sure, Dan, and that's the injury to Anthony Rowe. And I think it put a little bit of a dampener, quite understandably and rightly so, at the end of that. I think it affects both sets of players to see somebody injured. But, you know, aside from that, it's been a great game so far, and at times it was hard to catch your breath.
Well, Fab Flanoy is making his way off to the locker room. His Newcastle Eagles lead here at Sports Central at the break. It's 46-42 to Newcastle. Welcome back to Sports Central here in Newcastle. Top of the table clash. I mean, for 19 minutes and some change there. That was as entertaining a first half as you could have had. But just crushed everything there. Anthony Rowe going down injured and being stretchered off. We wish him all the best. But let's get back to the action. What do Leicester need to do? What do Newcastle need to do here in the second half?
Well, just looking at the stats down at the half, I think the key thing really is the rebounding. I mean, without Rowe, it's going to be tough because the Eagles have outboarded the Riders 29-14. And in spite of all that great three-point shooting in the first quarter, if the Eagles were to make their next three and the Riders were to miss their next three, then they'd both be shooting 50%. And I think the other thing is you've got to look at the fact that the Riders have been to the free throw line 3 times in the half, and the Eagles 13 times. And I think that's just a stat which is going to grow and grow and grow the difference, because the Eagles are going to pound it inside.
And you would, I mean, some of that is about Leicester taking 15 three-point attempts in the first half, so they're less likely to go to the free throw line. But you're right, I'm sure Newcastle are going to try and ram it down Leicester's throat here in the second half. That's a sloppy one. Did a Leicester player touch it? Well, if they did, it must have come off Flanoy last, because it's a Leicester possession. Well, we feel it was very much a tactic in the first half, the three-point shot for Leicester. It's surely only going to become more and more of a tactic as their inside options became reduced. There's Calvo. Oh, great pass from Calvo to Hassan for an easy one.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of Calvo. He's got great vision. Just a lovely little pass and a nice finish. Get the Riders rolling.
I think their Cook was trying to draw some contact and almost overdid it on the layup, but it did drop in. Oh, Black driving in, trying to find Hassan, but Smith recovered to bat that ball out of bounds. It'll be a Leicester ball from the end line.
Of course, there's a little irony there that the Riders go inside on the first 2 plays.
Here's Kuznov. Back out to Anderson. He's got to take that shot, really. Force the defense to come out. It didn't go in. But he's got to force them to honor him out on the three-point line. Here's Defoe. Of course, if they could get Hassan into foul trouble, that would be great. Oh, good. No, it was a foul in the end. I thought Hassan had blocked it at first, but the whistle did come, and it's the second on him.
Yeah, and I think it's a sign of time, a sign of things to come down that end of the court. As we said, I think the Eagles just constantly go inside, and Charles might make the odd three-point shot.
Well, Defoe a little flat on that first free throw, rattled about now. Not much more elevation on the second, but enough. Eagles by 5. Here's Black driving in. Anderson, again, they leave him, baiting him to shoot a 3. Black, not quite the same there. They were right out to him. Flanoy knocked it out of bounds. It's a Leicester ball.
It was a pretty smart first half performance by Black. Quite assured. Made a couple of big shots. Actually had the best efficiency rating of all the Riders players, so that's a positive sign from their point of view.
Kuznov drives baseline. Here is Black. Steps underneath, drives to the hole, draws some contact, and will go to the free throw line for 2. Defoe turned away in disbelief, which usually means it's on you. And it is on him. It's his third personal foul.
To me, Black looks like a player who can definitely grow in stature in this league. Just looks very assured, looks very steady, and obviously with confidence and wins, he could be a real bonus for the Riders.
First free throw is good. Second one is not, and the long rebound comes out to Drew Lasker. Lasker, oh, Black almost stole that away. Lasker did well there. Lasker's under pressure, gets it to Defoe again. He's going to go to work at Hassan, and this time he settles for a little jumper in the lane for two.
And the other factor here, Dan, is probably the fact that the starting five for the Eagles has got a chance to redeem themselves, because Gores and Martin are still sat down as they were in that first quarter.
Behind the back pass gets from Calvo to Kuznod, who went for the jam. It didn't go. Ball is loose. Kuznod got caught there by Smith, and he couldn't quite convert. Illinois berating one of the officials. I'm not sure what his complaint was. It can't be the foul, because that was a definite foul. It must have been before that. He felt he was fouled, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe just want the referee to call it, maybe a little just pull on the shirt there under the hoop. But I think you've got to finish that play for the and one, especially in a game like this, which might just start edging away from you.
Got to make free throws as well. We saw Leicester have their woes in the cup final. Didn't affect them in the end. And Kuznod makes the second. He's up to 12. He and Black both on that mark, the leading scorers for Leicester so far. Lasker drives in, gets up in the air, didn't quite know where he was throwing it, ended up turning it away. Here's Black. Leicester have numbers here. Hassan drives off the glass. Good play from Defoe not to commit a fourth foul there.
Yeah, smart play by Defoe, but also by the Riders. And I think Lasker, there's no need to be that erratic. Again, he's trying to force it. This time he goes up. I think he's lucky to maybe get a foul there, but I think the Eagles just need to get it down in the low post.
Well, that was one of them where I wasn't sure the referee was convinced after he blew the whistle there. But it's the third personal foul on Hassan. You're right, though. Lasker, he obviously feels he has the matchup against Calvo, because he seems to be attacking him in the early stages of the third quarter. Maybe
a little bit of that, but maybe also a little bit of wanting to prove himself within this team also. I don't think maybe, there's an argument there that he hasn't quite maybe lived up to the expectation that it brings, playing for this club, even though he's played here before.
Second one rims out, and Hassan is the only one chasing down that loose ball. Here's Black. Illinois jumps out to him. Black drives baseline. Black cross court to Kuznod for three, not quite. Hassan with another offensive ball. Beautiful spin inside to lay that back.
Oh, I just love Hassan under the hoop. Does everything really simply, really efficient. Just the kind of player that you really do love as a coach.
Need to get it over here. They do get it over in time. Illinois still going with it. Now he picks it up, has to shoot it. And did he get caught from behind from Black? I think he did. And that's what the referee has called.
Things just getting a little bit feisty off the ball now. A little bit of needle in this game.
Well, Illinois having plenty to say to one of the referees. Not quite sure what the complaint was. He got the foul. He's still having a chat now. He's still going at it. That's one of the advantages of being a player coach, is you're never too far away from the referee.
Yeah, well, sometimes...
Oh, they've called a technical on Rob Paternoster, I think. Now, the interesting thing there is, Fab had so much to say. Rob was, I think Rob was like, well, how does he get to do all this chatting? And you're not going to say anything to him. And Rob obviously had a warning in the first half and got a technical foul for it.
Yeah, but the curiosity was, I was just about to say that I've seen Fab, obviously, because he's a player and he's right next to the referee, sometimes doesn't get away with saying things because the coach is so far away.
Why are they lining up, though? There was technical foul. There'd be two for the shot. There should be no lineup. I don't know why.
Two for the shot first, I think. And then
but you still don't line up for it.
Well, unless they've just warned. They must have just warned him. They've just warned him. Didn't actually call it technical. They've just warned him.
They warned him in the first half, though.
Well, after the first warning, it should be a technical foul.
Yeah. Well, I have no idea what happened there, folks. There was plenty of chatter. That much I did notice. Black drives baseline, moves it on. Kuznod is open for three. Calvo again in there, and in some ways he and Hassan got in each other's way, and Lasker runs it back for the jam. Leicester looking to push quickly the other way. 5-point lead now for the Eagles. Anderson fakes it, the three, drives baseline through the hands, but Calvo saves it. Calvo under pressure, needs some help, gets it out. Ball, they tried to skip it on, but good hands from Lasker. Will be a Leicester ball from the side, shot clock holding at 6.
Much more like it from Lasker. Great dunk, good quick hands, and that'll give him a little bit of confidence, and hopefully next time, for the Eagles' point of view, he doesn't try and force the play again.
Calvo drives baseline, dumps off to Hassan, blocked by Cook. Cook drives in. Cook got a long way to the basket there without bouncing it, and it's good for 2. It's one of them where it looked like it was either going to be called a travel or a foul, and it was called neither. 7 now the Eagles lead. I think that's their biggest of the game. And Defoe has just jumped out into one there, and Darius Defoe has picked up foul number 4 with still 16 minutes to go in this ball game. That's a blow.
It's a big blow, but of course Scott Martin comes on, who hasn't really played in this half, but definitely Defoe, as you said, workhorse. He's on the bench. He's annoyed with himself with that foul, because if I'm honest, it's probably the cheapest of the 4.
Yeah. I said he plays a lot of minutes normally. He doesn't get into foul trouble. Maybe I cursed him in the first half by saying that. Here's Washington. Gore's trying to knock it away from Washington. He did keep it alive. Shot clock down to 5 here as Kuznod has to shoot it up. Kuznod shot halfway down. Lambo keeps that alive, but only as far as Gores. Gores has Cook with him. Finds Cook in the corner. Martin on the trail, gets it down low. Trying to get it into Flanoy, forced it a little bit there. Anderson drives to the hole. Rebound pulled in by Kuznod, and there's a foul on the play, and Anderson just looks a figure of frustration there that he didn't finish that play off.
Yeah, and I think assistant coach Dave Forrester from the Eagles there's pretty annoyed with the way that the Eagles are executing offensively. I mean, anything in the open court, okay, they're scoring, but I don't think they're making the smartest decisions.
Well, the table put up 4 fouls for a moment there, and I was trying to look down to see who committed 4. I couldn't see anybody, but they corrected it to 2. It was Gores, I think, who was caught for it. Kuznod makes both from the free throw line. Leicester just about hanging on in this one, trailing by 5. 5 minutes to go in the third period. Gores a little stop and go, misses the lay-in, and Black breaks out of the pack. He's got Gores chasing him back and didn't get the shout, and Scott Martin is off and running and will lay it in. Good pass to find him down court.
Yeah, Gores definitely for me can be the man who can win this game for the Eagles. I think he's just got that little bit about him, little bit of both ends of the court defensively and that explosiveness on offense.
Oh, Anderson just got that ball to Washington. Anderson fires up for 3, hits a 3, needs to do that to bring the defense out to him.
In the difference, no hesitation, caught the ball, shot the ball, made the 3, and that was in stark contrast to what happened earlier in this quarter when it seemed like an eternity before he decided to shoot the ball.
Smith with a little push off there on Anderson, referee not buying it. Dumped inside to Flanoy. Flanoy trying to back down Black, find some space, does find some space but doesn't convert. Washington has it now. Washington to Black, he sets his feet and hits for 3, I think. Referee didn't single, but there was a flop warning in there. Did they give that as 3? It looked like a 3.
Yeah, it's got to
not put it on the board yet.
Yeah, it's got to be 3. Has to be.
Yeah, they put it on the board as 3. The referees didn't signal it because they were busy pointing to, was it Gores? They were saying flopped on that.
Yeah, they said Gores flopped. I think it was obviously after the pass was made, followed through.
Think about that.
A little bit of contact.
They never call a charge in that situation, so there's no point in going down like that, because when the pass has been thrown a long time before like that, you're just not going to get that charge. Well, Leicester, in fact, scoreboard's cut that back down to 57 in the house, so maybe they didn't give them 3 for that. It looked like a 3 from where we were stood, but the referee didn't signal a 3, so maybe Leicester have lost a point. Kuznard drives to the hole for 2. Nice play. I'm surprised nobody on the Leicester bench has made a complaint about that.
Definitely not a
the scoreboard definitely put it up first time and then took it back down. Unless the referee said on the way down it was only a 2. Smith going to work. Triple team comes at him and Gamble pulls in the rebound. Leicester could tie the game here. Washington dumps it off to Anderson. Wasn't quite ready for it. Lasker knocked it loose and Anderson's going to get called for the foul.
Yeah, great work by the Riders, but I think it's probably 3 or 4 pretty ugly offenses by the Eagles. Making hard work, maybe a bit of overkill really inside. Instead of just maybe he's moving the ball a little bit more, isolating some players down low.
Well, it looks like Levi Knowles going to get into the game for the first time for Leicester. Here's Lasker out to Gores. Gores with the step back 3. It's a tough one to make, and he makes it.
Yeah, Gores has made a couple in this game, and you know, he's more known for going to the basket, but he knocks it down from outside.
Lamble off the feed from Washington. That's very much his range. Nice little pick and roll there. Cook, he now steps back for 3. That doesn't go. Gamble and Washington fighting for it. And Washington wins that one. Washington, they didn't stop him. Out to Gamble in the corner. He likes that shot, and that's why, because he's pretty effective at it. And the Leicester Riders have tied the game at 64.
Yeah, Rob Paternostro is coming right on the call there to make a point. I'm not sure whether it's to the referees or whether it's just to congratulate his players, but the Riders are pumped up, and definitely the momentum has switched all the way to the Riders, and they've really fed off some just nice basic plays. I mean, they've just done everything simple. They've got the putbacks. They've, you know, had some nice looks inside. They've made a couple of threes. They've got some stops. Just all around nice play at both ends of the court. And I think they've done a good job of clogging the middle defensively, and you know, they've made life tough for the Eagles. But then you could argue that Fab will be telling the Eagles there, you're making life tough on yourselves.
The 10th three-pointer of the game for the Leicester Riders. 10 of 20 from behind the arc, and it's come from a multitude of sources, which is always useful. Kuznar's hit 3, Black's hit a couple, Calvo's hit 1, Anderson's hit 2, Gamble's hit 2, and it makes it very difficult for the defense to adjust to that.
Exactly, and they've just shared it around. They've done a really, really good job. And I think that, you know, the problem for the Eagles now is not only has he got to figure out which lineup is going to get this job done for the home side, but I think Fab Lannoy also has got to get Charles Smith scoring again, because he was the big factor in the first half.
Smith hasn't scored in this second half. 14 points. He had that at half-time. He's only taken 1 shot attempt in the second half. But again, in the first quarter, he didn't get many touches, did he? And then exploded really in that. They had that run of, I think it was 16 unanswered points. Might have been 17. End of the first, beginning of the second. And he was the driving force in that. Hit a couple of threes in a row. Cook to Martin. Oh, who lost Cook inside? Not quite sure, but he was all on his own for an easy basket. Lamble comes up again for the high pick and roll. Drives through, kicks out to Knoll. Thought about the 3, turned it down. Washington, little stop and go, trying to get it to Lamble. Martin knocked that out of bounds. It'll be a Leicester ball with the shot clock at 7. And this is the lineup here, where you look at it and you say, it's essentially 5 guys who would ordinarily be bench players for Leicester. Calvo does start sometimes. Washington does start sometimes. Where can they get their offense from here in this last couple of minutes of the third? Calvo Fakes at the 3, dumps it inside to Noel. They didn't get the shot off in time. I don't think Calvo realised the shot clock situation and went for pass instead of shot.
Yeah, it's a rare lapse from Calvo because he's normally got such good awareness and recognition there. But again, you know, at least they were trying to move the ball to find the right shot. And, you know, that's not going to destroy you as a coach by any means because your team's trying to do the right thing. Just a little bit of a mental lapse there.
Gores toss it across to Martin. Down low to Flanoy. Cut to the basket by Martin, falling over. Lamble in close proximity. Home fans wanting a foul. Calvo. Kuznod, quick step, drives to the basket, jams it down. All in the first step there for Jay Kuznod.
Yeah, Kuznod just showing his versatility, really. Flushing that one down, and the Eagles just got to be careful
Good
here.
hands from Lamble after Riders came up for the trap. Washington now. Oh, that's got to kill you as a coach. You get a great defensive play and just a sloppy pass at the other end.
Just a little bit of inexperience probably there from Washington. And I think, you know, the big danger for the Riders is probably looking to see if Smith does explode. He loves the final quarter, I'll tell you that.
He certainly does. Cook. Flanoy driving in, tosses up the finger roll, too much on it. Rebound Kuznod inside the final minute of the third. We're tied at 66. Gamble left open. Gamble quickly closed down by Gores. Drives to the hole. Don't see that very often from Gamble.
Yeah, showing he's not just a three-point shooter, and obviously maybe that was in the defender's mind, but he just ghosted to the hoop. Nice finish, and the Riders ahead by 2.
Flanoy. Into Smith, out to Martin for the long corner, 2 doesn't go. Cook with the rebound, shot clock switched off here. Martin can take his time. Cook backs out, has a glance up at the clock, sees it down to 8. Now he goes at 5. Driving in, Cook to the runner, no. Martin can't grab it, Gamble does in the end. And well, they came into this quarter with a 4-point deficit. A man out injured from the start of the game, lost a guy just before halftime, and they go into the fourth quarter up 2.
Fabulous job by the Riders in that quarter. Like you say, the lose roll, I think they actually went down to about 7 points or something, and you wondered where the game was going for the Riders. But actually, I have to say, you know, you said that he put 5 guys there who would normally be on the bench. What a great job they did, and I mean, you know, that's the sign of a championship team, of a championship winning team. You know, if you can come into tough situations, use your depth, and basically get the job done. I mean, there's still a long way to go in this game, but you know, it's finally balanced, and this is exactly what the league wanted at this moment in time.
Certainly is. Newcastle trailing Leicester by a couple. We'll have fourth quarter action in a few moments' time. Players making their way back out onto court here at Sports Central. 10 minutes left in this ball game. It's the Eagles 66. The Riders, through some adversity, as to be said, amazing that they can go into this quarter not only with possession of the ball, but with a lead. I mean, few gave them a chance at tip-off. Half-time, we were writing those chances down even less, and yet here they are still. Kuznod driving to the basket. Oh, that one bobbled out for him. You like the move, it just needs a bit of a friendlier roll.
Yeah, and I think for the Riders here, it's probably just a case, right as we said at the beginning, nothing to the Eagles in transition off turnovers.
Well, interestingly, they've got Defoe back in the game. Remember, he's on 4. Smith open for 3, short on that one. There's Defoe getting the offensive rebound, and that's what he gives them. Yeah, just needs to stay out there.
Very much a carbon copy in many ways of Hassan at the other end. You know, he'll clean up there if he gets any putback opportunities.
Kuznov. Again, Leicester using this high screen a lot. Black driving to the basket, out of control. And you've always got to be careful there. It is an offensive foul, but Defoe was running up, as he often does, clogging up the middle, and it's one of them, you just mistime that. Well, I just wondered for a second if Black had hurt himself, but it looks like he's just adjusting his shoelaces. But Defoe on 4 fouls, you need to be careful in that situation. He got the good defensive position.
Yeah, and it's quite easy just instinctively just to make that little reach, and it's a really soft one that would foul you out. But you know, I think both teams, the only disappointment I'd have is just the times they've tried to force it at both ends.
Here's Cook. Lobbed into Defoe. Blocked by Lambo, but fouled first by Kuznov. It's only his second, according to my numbers. Puts Defoe on the line. 2 quick fouls on the Riders here in the opening minute. Obviously, free throws can come an issue down the stretch. Well, Defoe gets Newcastle to 70, something they didn't manage in the cup final. Still 9 minutes to go here.
Hassan checks into the game. Maybe Rob Paternostro has seen Defoe the last couple of times down and just wants to do something about that under the hoop.
Calvo to Lambo, top of the key. Lambo's jumper wipes his feet and drops for 2. Ties the game. Lasker given a bit of space there, couldn't make it pay, and Hassan with the rebound. Black in the corner, Lambo looking for some help, finds it from Kuznov. Kuznov driving through, looked like he got caught there by Cook, and probably because he played through it and through the pass, referee let it go, and of course it's a turnover instead.
Yeah, it would have been a nice backdoor little pass there, probably for a layup if he'd executed it okay. But you know, again, Riders look a little bit more sure in my book at the moment.
Lasker knocked loose. Lasker keeps it alive. Shot clock getting a bit low. They've still got a lot of time. Cook, oh, he jammed it underneath the ring. Oh, he missed the second attempt as well. And Kuznov with the rebound. Calvo with a little fake. Behind the back pass to Lambo. Lambo got blocked by Flanoy. And Newcastle get it back.
Lovely pass there by Calvo, but an even better block by Flanoy, and both teams just having difficulty trying to get in any rhythm at the moment.
Oh, Lambo almost made amends there with a steal, but he could only just deflect it away. And a bit of a casual pass there from Smith. Will they reset the shot clock on that? Came off his leg, you would think they might. Not signalled it to the table, so the shot clock's still at 7.
No, it's got to be a deliberate football.
Defoe kicks it out to Lasker. His shot is short. Lambo just reached that one, and Charles Smith called for the foul on the rebound. It's only his second.
Charles, just picture of frustration in the second half. He's not even getting the opportunities to shoot the ball because, like I say, the Eagles just not kind of doing the kind of job they did in the second quarter, as tough as it is.
Kuznov under pressure gets the shot off. That is a tough one from Jay Kuznov. He's up to 20 points now. Defoe backing down Lamb. He's got to be careful in there. He's not left the lane yet as well. Back to Smith, fires up for 3 off the back of the ring. Calvo gets the rebound. Flanoy knocks it away from him. It came off Flanoy last, so Leicester will keep possession. Was Fab a bit ginger there as he was chasing that one down, or was that my imagination?
Yeah, he's always got something wrong with him, Fab. I don't think that's unusual. He'll play out.
Those tape manufacturers in business, doesn't he?
I always remember once at the Braehead Arena when he was playing the Rocks, and he dislocated his finger. He jammed it in off the backboard and just continued on his own defense. Sorry, off the support.
Calvo drives in. Now he's forced back out by Cook, and that. Ooh, I thought Defoe had missed that, and it actually touched Calvo last. That was certainly Darius's opinion as well, but Leicester get away with that. Lambert wasn't quite looking. Eventually did get the inbound pass. Hassan has it knocked loose. Oh, and Gore's just dancing along the end line, keeps that in bounds. Cook. Smith. Has Calvo in front of him, trying to barrel him out of the way. Good pass. Oh, what a block from Lamble. You don't see them swatted away like that very often. Little stop and go from Black. Drives in, can't convert. It's tipped out of bounds by Cook and will be a Leicester ball.
Great swap by Lamble. You've got to love that, the veteran. And I was just watching there on the defensive end, and Ryder's just happy to kind of stand there in the zone, just almost inviting the Eagles in there. Lamble just bided his time and made the rejection.
Timeout called by Rob Paternoster. Well, I'm sure if you gave him this scenario at the start of the game, with just Sullivan out, he would have been delighted. But to have lost Rowe as well, whatever happens in this last 6 minutes, 11 seconds, Rob Paternoster can be proud of the effort of his team.
Yeah, it was interesting actually. After the BBL Cup final, I got on a train to come home to Newcastle, and funnily enough, went to take my seat and I saw this gold molten ball, and there was Andrew Sullivan coming back up to see the family. And you know, I didn't want to pester him too much, but we were talking just really about what had happened. And he said, you know, out of everything, all the teams he's ever played on, he said the one thing I tell you about this Riders team is they never ever stop going. And you know, you can kind of say that about lots of teams, and you hear players and coaches say that, but I think the Riders always demonstrate it, and that's the difference, you know. So he says whatever the situation, they will always keep going, and I think we're seeing that tonight.
Well, I must admit, at the National Indoor Arena, there was, what, 8,500, 9,000 people in there. There was probably only 10, 11, 12 maybe, who believed with 4 minutes to go that Leicester were going to win the Cup final, and that was the Leicester players themselves, because I think everybody else, myself included, had written Leicester off at that stage.
Yeah, it was a fabulous day, really exciting. Disappointing if you're a Newcastle fan, but great advert for the league.
Oh, couldn't get it in. Oh, but you know, I thought for a second Kuznov was going to get there, but Gores did get there. Black.
Yeah, Gores went to pass, and I think he put it up and caught the ball, so that's a travel.
Black might have touched it, but because he hadn't landed, not re-established position perhaps, it looked a bit weird, whatever it was, and the referee called it a travel. Calvo has it knocked away. Leicester a bit sloppy here. Gores is looking for some support. He has to slow down and wait for it. Gores will fire up for three. And rebound pulled in by Cook. Cook drives in. Again, trying to draw contact instead of concentrating score first. Here goes Black. Black to the layup. Not quite. And two Leicester players are on the deck. So Newcastle 5-on-3 here. Gores has it. Gores back to Martin. They still don't score, but Smith gets the rebound. Smith off the glass, that misses. Martin's tip, that's tipped away. That's legal. Home fans want a goaltend, but once it's hit the ring, that is legal. They're going nuts in front of us, but they're wrong, I'm afraid. Calvo gets it, tried to get it to Lamble on the trail.
It doesn't get any more shabby than that, 20 seconds.
And we've been stuck here. We were tied at 70. There's only been one basket. Lamble's shot is short in the last, 3 or 4 minutes?
Yeah, it's getting pretty ugly now, but really I think it's who's got the class to finish this game off. There's one man who might have Smith, but even he's struggling at the moment.
The referee's going to call that a jump ball. Newcastle will keep possession of it.
To be honest, I think the uglier it is, that really suits Riders, because they're just trying to gut this one out.
The referee's gone to the commentator and said something to him. Well, now he's talking to somebody in the crowd. I don't know whether he's getting dog's abuse there from somebody in the front row of the crowd. I know they were going nuts about that last call being a goaltend because Kuznod had tipped it off the ring, but once it bounces on the ring, you are allowed to tip it away like that. So that was a good no call. Gores for three doesn't go. Leicester again with the rebound. Martin trying to knock it loose. And Kuznod has it. Kuznod, little stop and go, drives in. Lamble again with that little mid-range. Wow, chipped off the side of the board. Ball is loose and eventually Newcastle come up. Oh, Cook's out on the break. Cook is fouled. Oh, he's missed it. He's missed it. Now the question is it a regular foul or an unsportsmanlike? Referee says it's a regular foul.
That's an unsportsmanlike as far as I'm concerned. I know Dave Forrester ran almost half the length of the court there with his arm raised, holding the wrist, but I don't, well, I mean, you could argue Lambert had a chance to swat the ball, but he kind of got him in the back. And
when I grew up, that was a no layup rule. You didn't give a guy a layup out on a fast break, you went and fouled him. They've legislated that out of the game, you can say rightly or wrongly, but I don't, I think defense is part of the game. You're trying to stop the guy from scoring. He's just saved his team a point because he's missed a free throw. But I agree with you. In the current interpretations, I would probably call that an unsportsmanlike.
I think mainly it was because he, from what I could see, he put his hand on his back, and whether that's enough to say that you're playing the ball.
The same foul in a regular play, i.e. not on a fast break, is never called an unsportsmanlike.
Good point.
That's the thing. Kuznod steps back for three. Big shot from Jay Kuznod, rattles in, and Leicester's lead is out to 4 with 4 to play.
And it looks like it could be Kuznod for the Riders, who comes up with an MVP performance. He must be on 23, 24 points now.
Smith to reply. Oh, it's jammed, and that will be a jump ball, Leicester's possession. Charles Smith, great shot of it there from that camera angle. Jammed in. He's not scored in the second half, Charles Smith. Kuznod, his 4th three-pointer in 6 attempts, that was, for 23 points. And with just under 4 to play, Newcastle trailing by 4, call a timeout.
Yeah, and you have to say, in the context of the race to land the BBL Championship, that I think this game's a lot more important for the Eagles, because I have to be honest, I don't know whether they'll get up from another blow like this, especially in the circumstances. No Sullivan, no Rowe, you're 7 points up, everything's going in your favour, and I think if they lose this game, then it's going to be really tough to recover.
Well, we write nothing off with 4 minutes to go. It's only a 4-point game. Leicester were, what were they, 11 down at this stage in the cup final? They did have Drew Sullivan. They've not got the ball down yet. Referee's not necessarily known for their leaping ability, so I guess none of them want to take the chance of trying to get up above the ring to knock that loose. They'll wait for the players to come out and do it for them.
I'm sure there's nothing psychologically for the Eagles players, but that 6-0 record, not 1 in 6 games against the Riders, all of the indications are that they should win this game, but they find themselves 4 points down with just under 4 to play, and everything's really, really difficult for them offensively, and be interesting to see how this one plays out. Well,
Newcastle's home record against Leicester in the last 17 years is 28-1. The 1 was the first game here last season, and since then Leicester have won, well actually I think it went back a game before that, have won 6 in a row. Nobody has beaten Newcastle 6 times in a row since 2004, which A, tells you something about Newcastle over the last decade, and B, tells you something about Leicester over the last 2 years. Great play from Kuznod, 25 for him now, Leicester's lead is 6. Flanoy into Defoe. Defoe, they needed that, they did need that.
Yeah, the Eagles needed that, and Defoe really has been money underneath the hoop. He's definitely been the best source when they've got him in and around the hoop. Defoe's generally got a good look.
They go to Kuznod again, and why not? Kuznod from miles behind the arc for 3! Oh my goodness! His 5th 3 of the game, he has 28 personal!
What a play by Kuznod. In fact, what a succession of plays. Looks like he could be on the way to winning this game.
Defoe drives in against Lambert. Oh, he's missed, and Lambert, oh, he should have grabbed it. He tipped it out. And then Defoe went back at him, and you can see Barry's frustration there with himself, because he could have grabbed the rebound. He opted to tip it to Anderson instead, and only found Defoe.
And what you've got to love about these Kuznard points was the fact that, you know, he hasn't just shot threes and caught the ball. He's actually went to the hoop, he's mixed it up, and just showing what a really versatile and class player that he is.
Well, Defoe's only missed a couple of free throws so far tonight. That's his third miss from this distance. And 7 down with 3 minutes to go. These are points you need. He makes the second. Gores comes up court on Washington. He's caused him a few problems, Paul Gores has today. Connor Washington on the dribble. And again, well, this time they come with a double team, Newcastle. They get it to Anderson. Anderson must be open. Somebody has to be. Hassan driving in. Flanoy knocks it loose. Newcastle through the double team at Kuznov. Oh, Gores has fallen over. Leicester get lucky there, but you just worry about Gores because obviously he's coming off that injury. He's a bit slow to his feet. And a fall like that can be one of those. I think he's all right.
Yeah, maybe it's when you're 6 points up, you jump up and spring to your feet, but, you know.
This time they hand it over, but again he's double teamed. Washington drives in and the reach foul from Gores. They're no, they're not over the limit. It's only their third foul of this quarter. In fact, the table thing only says 2. The scoreboard says 3.
And the Raiders doing just enough to handle the ball pressure.
It is 2 fouls on Newcastle, but Leicester won't mind that. It allows them, as long as they inbound the ball without turning it over, allows them to run a little more time off the clock. Anderson hands over to Kuznov. Will they throw the double team at him? They've certainly got help ready. Kuznov steps back, trying to get it into Washington. Just got it there, only just. Anderson, massive shot for 3, doesn't go. And rebound pulled in by Cook. 6 points between them, just over 2 to play. Cook drives. Cook to the little floater over, hits it. And Hassan with the rebound, stolen away by Gores. Gores off the glass for 2. Big play from Paul Gores.
Yeah, Paul Gores. Great anticipation there to grab that and put it back. He's already talking to the referee. He's ready to play, and we've got a great last 2 minutes here at Sports Central.
It's a foul by Cook, and will be a Leicester possession.
It looks like Calvo's checking back into this game for the Riders.
Gives them another ball handling option.
And Black 2, Washington sits down, so does Anderson.
There's Kuznard again. Kuznard under all sorts of pressure. Probably should have dumped that back to Black. He wanted a foul, he didn't get one. Here come the Eagles. Can they pull this one out here? Smith driving in. Smith to the lane. No, but tipped in by Defoe. 2-point ball game. Oh, Kuznard's going to turn that one over. Gores has it. Gores will tie the game. Gores does tie the game, and he'll go to the line with a chance to give them the lead.
Oh, we said all along that the Riders can't give anything up to the Eagles in transition, but Gores, quick hands, and have the Eagles turn this around right when it matters. Well, I think we're going to get a timeout by Rob Paternostro, who's talking to the table.
I think he's asked if they score this free throw, I'll take a timeout. I think they tried to force it a little bit too much to Kuznard, and Newcastle have been overplaying that, so they need somebody else to step up. Gores misses the free throw. Smith with the offensive rebound. Gores now can give Newcastle a lead. He misses.
Oh, Darius Defoe. What did we say earlier? He's definitely on the money tonight. And Defoe, I think he moves to around 20 points. Sports Central on their feet. What a finale we have here.
22 points, 9 rebounds. The amazing stat about the 9 rebounds, 8 of them are at the offensive end.
Yeah, definitely done a good job for the Eagles. Darius Defoe, we spoke about his career in general earlier on. I think he described him as a workhorse. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with that because
in the
it's delivered success.
Exactly. Possible way.
You know, that's definitely not a backhanded compliment. It's a huge compliment.
He just keeps on keeping on. He's such a vital part of what Newcastle have done over the years.
It was interesting just watching, just caught a glimpse there of the Riders' timeout, and actually when they brought Washington off the floor and they put Black and Calvo on, they ended up turning it over. So actually the bench guys have been kind of getting the job done, and it's always tricky for a coach. You know, you want to put your senior guys on there.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Rob Paternoster comes up with out of this timeout, whether he looks to go away from Kuznod and use Kuznod as a decoy because of the pressure defense that have been all over him. But he is 28 points, 5 of 7 from 3. It's hard to go away from that, isn't it? Calvo gets it on the inbound. Kuznod comes up, he does set the screen. Calvo's picked it up, he's under pressure. They do get it to Kuznod. Kuznod breaks through, Kuznod drives. Kuznod off the glass, it doesn't drop. Newcastle get the rebound.
Well, you would put your money on Kuznod there, the way he's playing and getting that one to drop, but it doesn't, so the Eagles in the ascendancy.
Cook drives in, Cook with the floater is short, Lamble tips it, Calvo has it, 40 seconds to play. Well, remember Calvo had a big 3 late in the game in the cup final. Here's Black, Black driving in, Defoe was there, and it's out of bounds, Leicester ball.
Oh, and I thought Hassan was just under the basket there for the little dish, and I think that definitely would have been flushed down by Rashad Hassan. And I think Black there will regret maybe not giving the ball to his teammate under the hoop.
Kuznod under pressure is fouled, it doesn't go. It was close to going. Flanoy got him, and Jay Kuznod will go to the free throw line with 26.4 to go. So even if he makes both of these, Newcastle can basically run the clock down and have a final shot.
It'll be interesting to see what defensive strategy Rob Paternoster employs here, whether they try and put a little bit of pressure on the ball.
Makes the first, 29 personal. Makes them both clean as you like, ties the game at 82, but Newcastle can basically run this down. 2.4 differential between shot and Glane. Newcastle can have the final shot to win here. Lasker looks up at the clock, backs out. Sends Black down, and Calvo's there. They've got to keep their eye on the ball. Now Black comes back. Shot clock into single figures. Cook has big space. Cook drives in. Cook to Defoe with the jumper, and he hits it. 5.4 seconds to go. Leicester have called a timeout. It's not done yet. Well, you wouldn't expect Darius Defoe with that sort of jumper in the corner.
Well, you wouldn't, but on the form that he showed in this last quarter, a bit like Kuznod, those two look like the respective game winners for each team. Kuznod doing the business for the Riders, and Defoe looks like being a potential game winner for the Eagles, but of course it'll be the Riders who, well, can they hit a 3 to snatch it? And that would be the ultimate kick in the stomach for the Eagles.
The ball advances to the front court, of course, so they can use all 5.4 seconds. And the smart thing here is to take it to the basket and try and draw a foul. But if you get an open three-point shot, Leicester are shooting above 50% from the from the three-point line. Could win it in regulation, but I think the smart thing is to go to the basket.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I got to give massive credit to both teams. The Eagles had a huge wobble in the third quarter, but they've came back with some excellent defensive play to get themselves back in this game. I mean, it looked like it had drifted away from them with 2 or 3 minutes left. And the Riders throughout, after losing Anthony Rowe and not having Andrew Sullivan line up, they've done such a fantastic job as well.
And it's deafening here in Sports Central as the teams make their way out onto court. Everybody is on their feet, and it's Calvo to inbound. 2 forces overtime, 3 wins it. Here comes Calvo. He's got to get it in. does get it in. Gamble to win it for 3! Oh, it almost went in, and Kuznov didn't tip it because he thought it was going in. I think Kuznov might have been able to tip that in, but he thought the shot was going in for 3. Oh, and there's some words being exchanged there. Malik Cook has run up to Rob Paternostro. I don't know what he's saying, but he's vigorously pointing at Rob Paternostro, and this is not very nice. At the end of a tremendous game of basketball, Malik Cook ran over to Rob Paternostro. I'm not quite sure what he was saying. He's still not finished with it, Malik Cook. He's still going after it, Cook, and his teammates are trying to pull him back. And now Sullivan's getting involved, and Defoe's trying to calm it down. Well, they just need to get Malik Cook out of the building. Just get him away from the thing, because it's only him that's causing the problem at this moment in time. The rest of them seem relatively calm. Charles Smith is shaking hands with everybody. And, well, Flanoy, I think he just needs to walk him out of the room. Don't let him come back to it.
But what a fabulous finish, and I have to say, if that 3 had dropped, well, in the context of the BBL Championship race, it would have been huge. The fact it hasn't dropped, it's huge for the Eagles. I think the Riders, though, deserve huge credit for the way that they've played. I mean, you know, to lose 2 players like Sullivan and Rowe, they've done a great job to be in with a chance of winning the game with the last shot.
Well, it's a phenomenal game of basketball here at Sports Central. They've managed to pull this one out, Newcastle. We'll hope to have as much drama next week. We're down at the Copper Box for the London Lions against the Durham Wildcats. But here, in this top-of-the-table clash, it's the Newcastle Eagles who've beaten the Leicester Riders by 84 points to 82. For Paul Nielsen, it's still going on out there. It's still going on out there. But we will wrap it up. Thank you very much for joining us. For Paul Nielsen, I'm Daniel Routledge. Good night.